So hey everyone. So we've been sitting here chatting for a little bit, but I wanted to start by doing our formal introductions. So hi, I think everyone knows
Hi.
my face, right? And so if you don't, my name is Cynthia Maria, right? Like I'm Cynthia Maria of Astrodula Cynthia Maria. I just have astrodula.com, which is still under the works, right? But I am a doula to star seeds, daemons, demigods, and to, elevated elementals, and so I do a lot of work with extraterrestrial stuff, right? Extraterrestrial stuff and alien stuff is actually what I was doing prior to when people found out about me through Magical Mystic. And so this is where I have done a lot of my like reading and study and a lot of my playing with meditation and healing techniques, right? And so I personally, one of the alien races that I connect with really deeply is was Arcturus. Yeah, I'm from the star Arcturus, right? So I'm Arcturian. And the Arcturian line is really, really strong in my lineage, especially on my father's side. And so, like, originally I thought like this was something that was just like something I was really into, right? But my aunt, my dad, like everyone on my dad's side, like that, everyone's fucking obsessed with aliens, and everyone can talk your head off about it. And like because I didn't get to know them until after 2016, I didn't really know that, right? But now I like, I feel good about it because I'm like, oh, my whole family, we're all nerding about the same shit. It gets super exciting. Um, but so in the formal introductions for everyone to go around, I just want everyone to, you can share if you want, it's optional, what your ruling planet is, and say your name, and that's it. I don't really need to know anything else from y'all aside from that you guys are dope and that I appreciate that y'all are here. And so we can go in order, kind of like how the Zoom screen is going. Unless Mika, you don't want to go next, and then that
Uh,
I would throw Monique in the fire. But let's go like I guess it's like left to right, right? So we'll do the top row, then the second row, and then Audrey, you'll be the last person.
Wait, so that could, whenever you did the directions, that confused me. So I think that means I'm first.
Yes.
On my end, it's going left to right. Never mind. I was just having a conversation about how I still struggle with left to right. The hand movements. Let's see. My name is Mika Agnew, and my ruling planet, depending on who you talk to and what method you go by, my ruling planet can be Neptune, Jupiter, or Pluto, depending on what you study.
Awesome.
Yes, yes. Anything else?
No, unless you want to share anything else that you feel like we need to know about you that's crucial or key.
Let's see. Not that I can think of off the top of my head. So I'll let the next person go.
Would that be me?
I think it's Zuli's next.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Suli. I actually don't know my ruling planet, my astrological field, so I really can't tell you that. I am starseed. I am a few different races, so so that is up in the air for that. And I am a Reiki master practitioner, and I do have my website is suliofone.com, so I do practice that, and I do love to share Reiki with everyone. It is wonderful energy to share and to use to heal, the earth. So I will definitely be using that to share in healing the earth. So that's
Thank you.
and I'm very glad to be here and to get to know everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zuli. I'm excited because you'll make you powerful. So this earth got to get it. So I'm excited. And then I think it goes next. Oh, I'm adjusting my screen because I'm like, I want to make sure my square, I want to make sure my thing is so full, right? Because that was what happened earlier. So I think it's our Gabrielle, right? You're the next person.
Hi, everybody. Gabrielle. My ruling planet is, well, kind of like the other lady, just went either Neptune, Jupiter, Pluto, all kind of sitting there In that first house, Mars kind of likes to think it wants to take over every now and again. Again, between the Aries moon and Mars in Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
But
That
I'm
Mars.
a Reiki master. I won't say a practitioner because it's been a while since I've actively used those for anything outside of myself, but I'm getting back into that. And my lineage is a couple of different places. Lemuria is one of them. Lemuria, Atlantis. I've been told Sirius.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure about that one. But yeah, that's it.
Thank you. That's awesome. I'm really, really excited. And thank you for joining us, right? And utilizing, that word sounded so weird out of my mouth just now, but utilizing, right, your Reiki and that chi and that life force for the earth at this time, right? Because it's very sacred, to shift that work from the self to the earth. And so I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And so, Monique, you ready? You ready to share?
I think so. So my ruling planet is Neptune, well, between like Neptune and Jupiter. But right now I work as a registered nurse, and I am a Reiki practitioner and also a holistic health nurse. There's a whole bunch of stuff I'm into that I'm doing, but the main thing, healing. So what I felt before is about my race is, I mean, I know there's some Atlantean there and Pleiadian, and I want to say a possible gray, but I'm not really, too sure yet. So, but that's me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. We got Nurse to the Earth on deck, and I'm really excited for that. Our order shifted because Ron and Ashley came through. Welcome, you guys. So we're currently just doing formal introductions. The introductions include anything crucial or key that you want us to know about you. They're optional. You don't have to tell us as much as you don't want to. We respect your sovereignty in that. What is your ruling planet? Whether that be your ascendant or your moon or your sun, we don't know. That's part of the riddle and the mystery of you. You can let us know whatever your ruling planet is. And if you feel like sharing part of your starseed lineage, you may do so, or your business, because we kind of did that very briefly for everybody, what you do and what you want to offer for the earth. And again, it's optional, whatever it is that you want to share. So I'm going to go in the original order. I think we're going to go with Danye next, and then to Audrey, and then we go back up to Ron. And then I know I'm saying everybody's name, but I want y'all to do your formal introductions as well. So it'll be Danye, then Audrey, then Ron, then Ashley.
Okay, cool. So, hi guys, I'm Danye. I'm a Reiki master practitioner, first year graduate of Blackwood University, and I don't know exactly what my lineage is per se. I just have an intense feeling and deep knowing that's I've always been led by. And so it's sort of interesting because now that I'm learning actual words and systems that I've been using intuitively, it's a little confusing, but it's exciting. So I'm sort of relearning things in a different way. And my ruling planet, I think, is Mars. I looked it up on Google, and Google said Mars, so I'm just going to go with that. So that's about it.
Awesome.
Hi, guys.
Oh, keep going. I was just saying awesome because it's just like the fact that you're like, I can imagine Google being like Mars. And you're like, that sounds about right. Check.
That's exactly what happened too. It was like, okay, Google, let's go with that. So yeah, we'll go with that.
Awesome. Cool. So thank you again. I love that we have so many Reiki practitioners because I'm just like, oh, this life force energy. Because one of the things that Mika was mentioning way earlier before introductions was starting was about a cleansing ritual that she may be doing. She will be doing. It's not even a may. It's a yes. That she'll be doing for everybody in this group. But I know one of the things that I experience, especially like, because I'm doing 3 rituals at the same time right now, so like my energy is going out to hundreds of people at once, is that like I definitely need like restoration. So like perhaps there's like one of the things that we do with the Reiki practitioners, anyone who's especially watching when they volunteer, some of their Reiki services, that we do like a restoration for the group as well. And that we do maybe like one day a month or so that's really focused just on like restoring everybody's energy in the group. And maybe we do that on the full moon just so that the energy is already really high. Or new moon for restoration when everyone's feeling depleted, but you may also be feeling depleted. So like I guess like we can kind of alternate, because there's a lot of Reiki practitioners in the group, so that's going to be really exciting, because I think that's going to be a good element to add, because we're going to get drained working on the areas in these sites, especially doing whatever else that we're doing in our workings. And so that's going to be a thing. So we'll be sure to mention that to everyone and bring it up in writing. So it'll be good. So Audrey, you're our next person in this.
Okay. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, I'm Audrey. And first of all you women are just awesome. I'm like, oh my goodness. There's some goddesses in here. About me, I am a healer, and I'm getting into knowing that I am a seer as well. Before Cynthia even did the little group, I had been having dreams off and on about like different wars and just different areas in this right. And I'm like, okay, what's this about? And like I said, then Cynthia had the group, and I'm like, okay, I'll put my name on there, because apparently that's what I was doing in my dream. I've been fighting and helping and healing and doing all kinds of stuff. So that is why I'm here, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Audrey. I'm so excited. Yeah, especially about the dreams, man. The dreams be some of the most intense, right? When all of a sudden, hey, Ron. So like, like when you're doing like, because I'm always worrying in my sleep. And that's why, like, when I wake up in my daytime,
Me too.
I'm exhausted as hell. It's just exhausted. And then, like, sometimes I'm really irritable when I wake up because I was like just killing somebody, and then I'm just like kind of violently waking up. Like, there's been a lot of times where I'm just like, because I just come back into it. I come back hard, right? Because sometimes it's just like after hard crash, like I fall. I don't die, but like I may have fallen, and someone may have like been like, okay, now like we gotta like put her, I don't know, in her cryo tank or some shit, whatever they do to my body when I'm not there, right? One of the other ones, but like we'll definitely be talking about some of the dreams, right? And how, because a lot of you will be doing the work in dreams more than you will be doing it in physical ritual, or then you will be sending Reiki. And that's something that's important to remember, because a lot of this work is mental and astral projection. So like we'll be like not necessarily just in this first meeting, but in the subsequent meetings, we'll be talking about astral projection. That's why I did the protections, and I think that's why it was so important for us to do protections now, because as soon as we committed into doing this work and being in this group, I know that people were getting shot at because they're already doing this work. Because like even in the reversal candle, that shit is going so strong. So it's like whatever you guys are doing now, like it's already being seen, and some of you are tagged, because y'all are out here doing this dope work, right? And so like you have been tagged prior. So we'll talk about things like tags, talk about removing tags, we'll talk about the tracking that does occur, why the warfare happens, right? Like some of this stuff like we can't do all in one session. So this is again why like we'll have these different teachings and groupings, and maybe I will create like a separate group And I've already talked to Steph about it, and it'll be like a side group that's linked to Steph to the Abyss, because this is a Steph to the Abyss thing. This is part of us working in the Abyss, right? Is doing some of this other work that other people don't necessarily think about when they're just focused on like money and love, right? So this is that other crucial component for that. So thank you again, Audrey. And so Ron, if you have the time to introduce yourself, we'd love to hear more about who you are.
I find it funny that you alluded to the abyss, so I will start there. My name is Ron Daniels. I am the Elder Dragon in charge. Period. The end. That's all there is to it. My, I guess, ruling planet is Gemini because I talk way too much and I care way too much. The other half is the Pisces. That's where the feelings come in at. As far as who I am magically, that's a long list. So we'll keep it simple. Draconian god, warrior, assassin, healer, multiple types of healer, whether that be physical, went through massage, energetically through Reiki, primordial energy, draconian energy. I am 9 times out of 10 the darkest one in the room, and I'm not talking about skin color. So that's about the simplest way to put it.
You know, I'm super fucking juiced because one of the things that I love to talk about in doing light work is that we always need the black light, because the black light is equally as important as the white light in this work, right? And so a lot of the light workers in this group, right, like, and that's one of the, you know, that's kind of the language, especially around like extraterrestrial stuff that is used, right? Like, you're a light worker, you're a light beacon, you're a way shower, bloop, 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 right? And so for, you know, simplicity, we will use some of that language because if you study and read more about it, like, that's what's going to come about. But one of the things that I love about what Ron does and some of the, you know, other teachings that like align with some of the like the Black planetary system, which is what I'm learning a lot about right now, so I can, you know, teach y'all about that because I'm excited about that. That shit has me so hyped. I was like, Black Saturn. I was like, yes. And so I've been so hyped about these Black planetary spheres. But when we, you know, because we are in 3D Earth and we're shifting into 4D, right? Like, we've made that bridge into 4D sometimes. So we're shifting and pulling the Earth continuously into 5D and into 6, right? When we have that 3D pull, if there's white light, we definitely have the black light happening. And this brings the totality of what it is that we're doing. Because this work on this earth is 3D, we always have to make sure that we are providing that balance, right? And so that's why, you know, I made that call also to the demonic star seeds, right? Because a lot of the angels and archangels that we know of, a lot of the individuals who helped even Solomon, right? Like, a lot of these were demons, right, that were taken from their places in heaven, right? Which is where we also tend to associate with like angels in the light, but they were taken from these same positions and moved, and then they were let go, right? And they were betrayed in the same way that a lot of the times we speak about the light being betrayed, right? And so when there's this, you know, there's this deep pain, right, from the beings who are also of light, right? Like, some of that, like some of that anger and that resentment, right, can breed that other aspect of the healing that we're looking at, right? Which is the most human aspect of what we're looking at, right? Which is a lot of the resentment that exists on this planet, right? A lot of the pain that's present on this planet, a lot of the suffering that's present on this planet, the cruelty, right? Like, these are all very human things, right? But they come from our basic elemental natures, right? And so it's going to be really important, right? That's why I said in the beginning, when I sent y'all that Arcturian tree of life, and thank you, Taj, for posting the picture, right, of the Arcturian tree of life in that link from the group of 40, it has that within it as well. But when we're working on trees and different paths, if it does not align with you, trash it. Just trash it. It's inconsequential to you, right? Focus with the path that you are on. Focus with the, you know, the categories, the way that you have self-identified, right? And use that, because that is what is needed and key, in addition to what everyone else is bringing along to this path. Like, it would not be complete if you didn't exist in what you do within it. And no matter how you deviate, left to right, to upside down, to sideways, you turn in, all up in it. No matter how you deviate, it's the perfect deviation for the healing that's is necessitated on this planet, right? So I'm super excited because we about to get litty with these demons, right? Like we'll be talking about, you know, some of the dragons that are, especially elemental dragons, are huge aspects, right, of planetary healing. It's major. Like the dragons are, you know, some of they're like I like to think of dragons sometimes, Ron, too, of like they're kind of like interlocutors of heaven and hell, right? Of like above and below earth, right? And sometimes even middle earth. And so like the dragons, you know, because of who, you know, the elements that they are and imbue, right, like they can go through these different planes of existence, and we can receive messages from them, right? And we can give messages to them that they can go through and give and share. And so like a lot of the different elemental spirits are going to be our interlocutors for that, right? So that's why it's going to be important for you to continue your own personal practice. This is part of the reason why we also mentioned Power Days. Mika was also one of the people who came up with the Power Days, because it was going to be really crucial for us to have the energy necessary, right, to do this work, right? And because a lot of us are filled by our continual veneration of our elemental spirits, our ancestors, our deities, you know, our rishas, whoever it is that we feel led to, you know, honor, right, ourselves, that it's going to be really crucial that that working takes precedence even over this working. Just so you know, you always want to make sure that takes precedence, because you always want your cup to be filled when you're doing this work. And it doesn't have to be like overflow with, right? Because like I know most of us most of the time don't have that. And then if that was the requirement, no one, not even myself, would be sitting right here with anybody, because my cup does not runneth over all the time like that with energy. I mean, it does, but like, no, not really. And so because I'm giving it, right? I'm consistently sharing it. And so make sure it's not necessarily your self-care practice. I mean, but yes, that has to be on 100, but you want to make sure that your energetic cup, right, always has that continuous flow going through it, right? Because it would be different if it was just getting emptied and you were just getting depleted and nothing was coming through it. But if you're feeding that energy that feeds you, and you feed that practice that feeds you, and you are doing the things that feed you, you're going to be fine throughout this work, because it's going to be really crucial that your energy is high. It doesn't, your vibe, and this is crucial because it's not necessarily like, you don't have to be happy, because there's a place for your sacred rage. There is a place for your sacred, you know, like your sacred resentment. These things are sacred, even though like we like to place them in different, they're sacred, because if they didn't have a meaning, if there wasn't a practice or a purpose that you could use within it, then it wouldn't be valuable for you, right? And so there's a place for all of these things, because that gives you a certain type of fuel to do a certain type of work, right? And so some of these areas that we are going to, you know, we feel led to work on, right? Like one of my friends, she's going to be doing working, I think starting the 25th, I think it's a 5-day thing for Flint, Michigan. I know a lot of people don't have high positive energy when they think of Flint. There's bitterness, there's resentment, there's rage, right? And those emotions are extraordinarily sacred in the work. And so sometimes in some of the places that will be highlighted, or some of the places that people will want to do, you know, in the levels that we're doing it, right? Like there will be some times that you'll be like, man, I don't feel called or led to do that working. But like, you know, that area needs some type of anger. And you'll be like, you know what, normally I would do this, but I'm going to work, because I'm going to need to shoot, you know, like, you know, have a place for the sacred rage that I'm holding. And instead of trying to like, you know, make yourself feel guilty or weird for like not being high vibrational enough to show up, transmute it here for a ritual for a different place, or transmute it in, you know, your visualization process, or, you know, in the rituals that you create. And so just that's why I was saying, even in the protection ritual, why it's so important to just come as you are, right? And that it's okay for you to show up however you need to show up, because however you need to show up at any point in time is exactly the healing that's needed when you hear the call for it. Otherwise, you would not hear it. Because everyone here, right, especially in being Sarsi, we're all antennas, right? And we all pick up on different frequencies, right? And especially those ones that you guys hear that are extraordinarily high-pitched, a lot of the times the frequency that you're tapping into is higher than 4-dimensional, right? So you're tapping into 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, 12, 13, 15, right? So some of you guys are like extraordinarily high vibrational, right? Like Arcturians tend to vibrate like at the 6 very consistently. Venusians at the 4th, right? And so there are different areas, right, in which certain like beings tend to like actually connect and contact with you. And so like when you're in that state, like you're definitely not in a position to work below or do any like low level shit, because you can't. You're so high up here, you're not even really grounded, right? Like, so if you're here and you're sensing all of that, you're probably somebody who's going to do more better with the dream work. You're probably somebody who does better with like the visual, the meditation, the imagination components, the drawing and the painting. That was a huge thing I wanted to talk about, because one of the things that I was hearing when I was consulting Dantalion last night, I was like, help. I was like, what am I gonna do? Because I was like, I don't know what to do. He was like, Cynthia, talk to them about the science and the arts. And I was like, you're fucking right. Because it's true, right? Like some of you guys, right, are great mathematicians. Some of you, right, like Monique is a great example, are great like physical healers, are actual nurses, right? Some of you, right, are painters. Some of you are musicians and singers. That's like me, right? And so for this reason, right, like some of the way that we connect to spirit, right, isn't going to look like I'm going to just sit with my candles and meditate. No, some of you guys, I'm going to need you to dance. Some of you, I'm going to need you to sing. Some of you, I'm going to need to paint a whole ass shit. And it could be stick figures. I don't give a fuck. But because, you know, mostly if you're an artist, you're probably a perfectionist anyways, and so it'll be way more gorgeous than that. And everyone's going to be like, oh my God. And you'll be like, this is trash. I just did this in 20 minutes. And be like, oh my God, right? You know how like, you know how people are with artists, and how artists get. And so the way that the work, you know, so like if you're someone who's in this extraordinarily loud thing, right? And you know, you guys see me do that sometimes when I do my readings, right? Like you'll see me do this, trying to like grab what feels so high up, and it's because it's like it's coming so high. But like for example, when I connect with like Dantalion or some of the other energies that I work with, like Asmodeus, which are really based in the earth, like they're very earthly beings, some of these demonic elementals, right? Like it feels like it's like they have to pull me down and hug me so I can hear it better, right? And so when I'm in that position like this, right, like I do different type of workings. That's how I do it when my energy is shifting, right? And so when I'm like that and I have these like, you know, these more like, I would like to call them more human feelings, literally. So when I'm feeling more angry or resentful or lustful, or when I'm feeling hungry, that sounds like a weird energy, but like hungriness is really important, right? Because when you think about when you have the hunger for anything, you have the determination, like your sheer determination goes off. Like it's like hunger almost takes over determination in like hierarchy of needs, right? Like you after a certain point, you just you push through it. And so when you have these different spheres of your feelings, right, do the different workings. So like, you know, whatever time that you can give to this is always going to be great, right? And so we'll talk. I did give in the beginning, like I'd wanted to do like the summer solstice at these certain times, right? And then I was like, this is unsustainable. So what we will do, right, like is I do want everybody, I want there to be a universal time, right? And so we tend to like fun numerology numbers like 511, 811, you know, because it tends 1111, because it translates into good, you know, different fun numerology, like no matter what time zone that you're in. And so we can play with numerology like that if we want to in this space. So if we do that, you know, like I would probably, we could do, because some of y'all wake up way earlier than I do. And I don't want there to not be an opportunity for people who are early birds and early risers to have that, right? So there'll definitely be like a very early morning like meditation like time, but then there'll also be a late night one, because there are a lot of you who are just up. And so like it might be better for you to do the evening time, right? So like we'll probably think about like a 5 a.m., like a 5:11 time, because like if I were to do that and anyone were to time in, like that's fine for a lot of people. That's a great practice. You know, same with like an 8:11, because that would be 11:11 for somebody else, right, in their local time. But it would be like it would shift, right? And so we could do similarly in the afternoon, like we could have something different. And these could be times that anyone could tap in through during any of the days that you're in, right? And so let's say like, so we could do 5:11 a.m. This is, I'm just like, tell me more, because they're just giving me numbers and I'm like, you guys, this is too much information at once. So, okay, so it's 5:11 in the morning, 8:11. I'm seeing chats. Let me see what people are saying. Oh yeah, y'all are hitting me up in the group chat talking about the dreams. None of you guys are alone. None of you. And that's like the dream life especially is we got when I'm stop talking for like a good second, let's talk about the dreams, because like with this Mercury retrograde that's supposed to come up, y'all, these dreams are about to get so much more intense. Oh shit. So like we'll talk about these dreams because it's crucial, because a lot of the ancestral work that we're going to be doing, especially like with our lineages specifically, will be coming through this time. Yeah, no, for sure. And then that's what's going to be good, because I think we just need 4 times during the day. So 5:11 in the morning, 8:11 in the morning, 2:11. Do I want to do 2:11? No, let's do later. Let's do 5:11 p.m. No, let's cancel that. They told me to cancel that. It's going to be 8:11 p.m. and 11:11 p.m. And those are going to be the times. So I'm going to type them in the chat for everybody. So 5:11 a.m., 8:11 a.m., 5:11 p.m. Oh wait, no, they lied about that one, I remember. And then, okay. So we'll do those times. And then, because, I want to respect people's sleep times and work schedules or whatever, right? And then for the rest of us that, are up at like 3 in the morning during witching hours, we'll probably have like dope side rituals for that, because I'm up usually at that time. And I'm also going to be, I can let y'all know in this group, because that's actually going to hold me accountable if 40 other people know about it, is one of the things that I'll be doing is I'll be actually doing YouTube lives at midnight my time. So it'll be like, depending on wherever time zone that you're at, because I'm Pacific time, so like everyone's already later than me, but I'm going to be hosting like midnight hour chats. Like it's from like the Mumkale of the seed of your soul and like astrology. So I'm going to be doing that on my Astro Doula channel. But I want to be able to have the opportunity to, have these conversations with people across the world who are not just in this group, and deal with trolls or whatever I need to do. And so like I want, because I want there to be opportunity for people to have space. If you're up in the middle of the night, like do your workings. I don't ever feel like, oh, I can't tune in at these times. Therefore, now tune in, whatever. These times are just for joint meditations that we know somebody somewhere in this group is also doing a meditation at this time on any days. And this is helpful too for your own practice, right? Because if you need to maintain a meditation time and you're not doing it already, you can tap into this time. 5 a.m., 5:11 a.m., 8:11 a.m., 8:11 p.m., and 11:11 p.m. So it's like before everyone does their stuff and then after dinner. Those will be some good times for that. But my actual instructions. So that was about like different things, but I actually want to talk about some of the categories for people's stuff. But before I do that, does anybody have anything that they want to do? Y'all can stretch, y'all can move, y'all can do the wiggly arms, drink some water, like, I don't know, like, like everyone can just get their Squidward on something, right? Like just move a little bit, because I know we're sitting here for a little bit. It's been like good 40 minutes. But, okay, cool. So what I want to talk about next.
Hey, Sam, before you get into the next topic.
Yes, go for it.
Back to, I'm kind of backtracking a little bit, but it's going forward as well.
Okay.
We were talking about the need for balance, especially when dealing with a lot of the light work.
Yes.
Me being a very primordial practitioner, I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that everything you said is true. There is a complete and utter place for everything. Every emotion that you have, every energy that you feel, whether it's you're connected to Samael and you want to bust somebody upside the head, whether you're connected to Artemis and you want to shoot something, whether you're connected to, you know, Venus and want to love on something. There's always a place for the energy. And the fact that we're going to be digging very, very deep, in some cases straight into the Dath or Da'ath or the abyss sphere of the Qliphoth is what I happen to practice. That will give you guys a lot of information, because Dath by nature is a void. There is a lot of different ways and pathways to get to it. There's a lot of pathways out of it. There is a lot of information that you can gain from it. Do not be afraid to tap into the darker sides of yourselves. Even Earth herself has a dark side. So make sure that when you're doing all of the healing and the light work, that you don't forget you can do healing and light work from darkness. I'm a perfect example of that. Have a good one, y'all.
Thank you. No, that's super crucial and important because, you know, one of the things that, this is a side story before I talk about the 3 categories of people, right? And like the light work categories, right? Before I started doing group rituals this year, right, I started getting the information to do it last year, like early last year. And I was like, no. And it wasn't because I felt like I wasn't qualified. That's not it. Because I already knew that my energy was really, really strong and capable. But I knew that there was something like off about what I believed to be true about my speech, what it was that I believed to be true about my will. But also because I had this consistent feeling of like I was not pure enough. Right? Like, and there was this weird, like, and that's like a weird, like, religious like teaching and the kind of like programming that kind of sits, right? But there's this teaching of like you have to be a certain level of pure. You have to have some type of level of purity in order to do this work. You can't be contaminated in some type of aspect, right? And I was like, no, I got contamination everywhere. I felt contaminated all the time, right? And then even the day when I had my first healing ritual, right, like everything went wrong, right? Like everything. That was the day even I had gotten scammed. Like I lost all my money, like through like Postmates. And I was like, how does this even happen, right? Like people were just buying Postmate stuff and I needed money to get like the rest of my offerings. And I was just all upset because I had less to offer up to my deities, right? And all these other things. And I was like, nah. And I was getting to this place of despair, right? And I had pulled like a card. And one of the cards that came for me was about this notion of spiritual purity, right? That even whatever is happening around me, I am always spiritually pure. Period. Point blank. Doesn't have to, like, even if someone were to throw black paint on me today and it was like the most insidious of energies and emotions and whatever, because I am me, right? And I identify as myself, right? And no one has control or say over who I am or what it is that I do truly, right? Like, none of that contaminates me and myself. Nothing can ever do anything to that. Even if, yes, my cat, like, she's like, I want to say hi to everyone. Even if my cat, right, like, I was just like, yeah, she just, like, did something completely horrible to me, and I created a hatred towards cats. I'm still pure. Even with that hatred that I've developed somewhere, right? And so if there's any, emotional hangups that you have, right, and you feel like, oh, my emotional hangups are going to get in the way, know that we are cleansing and clearing some of that hangups. A lot of that is going to get a good, and like this is a good plug actually for like M's products. I always laugh because like I have this one oil that she has, right? And like there's very few people that I ever hear talk about it, like never, and I never hear people talk about it. And I have this, and it's called Get Over It. She doesn't know it's called Get Over It, like quite literally. And like I never hear anybody talking about it. Like, and everybody could use it for anything, right? I use it on everything. Like once I went to the expo and she only had one bottle, I was like, that shit's mine. Because I've been wanting it for some time and it's always full price. It never goes on sale. I should actually tell her to put it on sale because I don't think anybody knows that she has it. But it's a great oil because it's like whenever I get in that weird feeling, I'm always like, get over this shit. So I'll be doing, like, we'll probably do a get over it ritual for everybody in this group too, right? So get over that, like, all of us, right? We all have, like, even that's what I was talking about before our former introductions, that I have this like high key terror about leading a group of leaders because like there's like this small inkling of like, he's gonna fuck it up. But then the other part of me is like, bitch, you know who you are. You can't fuck up shit. And you're like, you're right. I can't. Everything I do is glorious. So just know that even I deal with it, right? Sometimes now, even before with this joint ritual with Steph, I was like, out loud, Steph, you asking me to do what? And he was like, yes, and I was like, ah. But it was important, right? Because he asked, because like it was going to be a lot of fucking people in the group. So he was like, I need some backup. I was like, I volunteer tribute, right? So I was there to give assistance, and so just know that like there'll be like some workings around that, because that's part of actually what I have to do. Just if you want to know, like I'll be tapping in most days on meditations. I'll be tapping in most days, when we're doing ritual. Like I will always have something going on, because I carry little like travel altars and things like that with my bag, because I don't have a static place right now that I'm staying at. So I'm constantly moving with my own like my little witchy bag. And so I'll always be doing something though for this group around clearing, healing, restoring, energizing you all. Like I'll still be doing stuff on the earth, but my main focus is on people in this group and making sure that you guys are okay. And that's why I was telling people in this group before the introductions too, is that like any time that you guys need to like bow out for any reason, anytime that you guys have like any criticisms or complaints, any times that you guys have any suggestions of what you want to do, please let me know. Please feel free to let me know, because I trust in every single one of your guys' intentions. Each one of you has proven self-mastery in some capacity, right? And so, and I see it. If I didn't believe in you and who you are, you would not be in this space, because I'm the gatekeeper of it, right? And so one of the things that I highly encourage anybody to do is to let anybody in this space know, if you don't feel comfortable coming to me directly even, right? Some insights that you have for this space, right? And where you want to lead us next. Because if there's this particular area that you feel needs to be addressed, and that that there's some people in this group who would want to join in on that, share it, because you bet your ass there's somebody in this group who wants to join you, right? We have a lot of people in this space who will ride for earth healing. We all ride or die for earth healing. Like that's why we're here. That's literally why we incarnated, right? And so there's always going to be somebody here who will want to assist in some capacity. And if not, I will definitely be there if you are the only one doing it. Just so you're not alone in the space. And so for that reason, I'll always be doing, like I said, energetic work, so there is support and that you don't feel alone in the work. There's always someone, something, some energy, some deity. There's always something present that's doing the healing alongside of you. But yeah, so breathe one more time. Like that was a good little cute stories time. But let me see from here. Okay, cool. So going back to there we go. Okay, so my friend Jynnette Lewis, and she has Inner Sun Alchemy. That's who I've been doing like my Sudan rituals with, and that's why I mentioned earlier she's going to be having a healing ritual for Flint, Michigan, starting June 25th, and she's recruiting the rest of us, right, for like, this is a sacred activism is what we call it, right? And I have like a whole thing about how I people used to be like, oh, you're just an SJW. I'm like, yeah, I'm a spiritual justice warrior in this bitch. Like I just shifted it, right? So I was like, you can't just throw the acronym in my face. Yes, I was like, that is the truth. I was like, I take my activism and my sacred activism very seriously. But Jynnette Lewis, right, like she's someone who's based out here in Los Angeles, like I am, and she also works with elemental dragons. She does alien. She identifies with. I should just pull up her damn bio. I'll send that to y'all later. But anyways, she is fucking dope as shit. And one of the things that she has offered for us is the categories of the different light workers, right, and the different type of light work. So I'll be reading it from hers. So that way, that's why I'm giving the talk of who she is, because I did not write this. Is my disclaimer here. And so the three categories are this: there's the Wayshowers, there are healers, right, and then there are warriors. And so a lot of the times, people identify with all three. most people tend to identify just as healer. Some people I tend to identify just as warrior, don't really identify with their healing aspects. And there's some people who just identify as wayshowers, right? And so when we're doing these healing workings over the next year, however long you guys are riding with me in this work, I'll be talking and using this language. And so I'll be posting these same definitions like in our space, so that way people can read it and see it. But I'll start from the beginning of wayshowers, right? So wayshowers, in general, there'll probably be only a handful of you that'll resonate with this group of light workers. That's just the truth. You will need to be in your high angelic warrior mode for this. And in this other case, if we're doing the opposite side of the tree of life, you're going to be doing your most highly elevated demonic aspects, right? You'll be pulling down celestial energy, pulling down in quotation marks, and directing its flow to the greater healing work being guided by the healers. If you do both types of light work, in here she asks that you do your wayshower role first, and then you switch anytime that you're doing your ritual or healing works. Unless you're guided differently, then stay in your integrity. It says you are tasked with keeping the vibration high and the portal to divine light open, so that the boundaries remain strong throughout the process as best as possible. The warriors will be helping to maintain the sacred portal of light. You may have to fend off darker forces, hence needing to be in warrior mode too. In fact, I would expect attack if I were you. Work with your spirit team and do what you need to get yourself right. So that's the wayshower, right? And so one of the ways that I like to kind of see the wayshower energy too, some of the energy that can be aligned with this is also the terminology of being a light beacon, right? So the light beacon, they don't necessarily move, right? They have to maintain that high vibrational light and energy so that way the ships can come to them, right? And so this is kind of one of the areas that I play in, right? Like I'm Wayshower's partner, and I'm also gatekeeper, and that's why I've like opened up this energy and this portal for everybody here to join in, right? And so I will consistently be shifting into my different phases, right? Like, but I will most likely be in warrior mode when I'm not in my Wayshower mode, because that's what's most needed from me. And then my healing aspect will be for healing for you guys, right? And making sure that but it's my Wayshowerness, which will be maintaining the vibrations that are like, and the strong energy behind keeping you guys safe and sane, right, throughout this entire process, because this shit can get a little bit crazy if there's not consistent protections constantly in place. And so like that's one of the workings that I'll consistently be doing is that protection work, right? So number 2 would be healers, right? So the healer work, it says the majority of individuals be operating in this role. This would include simple silent meditation and contemplation on the intentions for the work that you're doing for 30 minutes per day. These are individuals who send healing energy for a variety of purposes, transmuting the grief and trauma, being released and removing it, using divine light available in the field, being created, that's being maintained by the Wayshowers to transform it. It's helping the dead cross over into the light. Necromancers and mediums fall in this healing category, right? And so if you know that you're planning on doing heavy lifting, right, then please come also warriored up. That's what she has here. She literally says, please come warriored up and come with your full spirit team. Also acknowledge and honor the ancestors of the land and the elementals if you're doing healing work. This is why I mentioned those of you, because I have a couple of people in this group, right, who are like, I don't know if I'm truly starseed, but I really, really, really fucking want to work with the earth. They're like, whenever I'm in a space, they're like, I'm with the earth all the time. Like, that's all I want to do. If there's anything I can do where people aren't showing up, tell me, because I just want to heal the earth, right? So there's a couple of people actually in this group who are like that, right? Who just attune to the elements of the actual land that we exist in. And there's everyone else who desires to heal their different aspects. Like I said before, I will constantly be providing protections, but please, this is why I mentioned before, to always be focusing on your veneration to your ancestors and your spirit team, because you constantly feeding them and will lead to constant protection for you. And it'll give you the consistent energy that you need, to be able to tap in and provide the healing that's necessary. Because in some of these places that we'll be working in, right, that they're sacred spaces, and so there's not necessarily the same type of like for instance, like Sudan, like there's active grief happening because there was active death that just occurred, right? And so like a lot of the work that I was doing there was in crossing souls over. Like I was doing a lot of necromancy work more than I was doing fighting work, more than I was doing wayshower work. I was in my full death doula mode, right? And I was just doing my death doula healing. And then like soothing a lot of the lost children, right? And so some of the places that we'll be looking at may have had a really key role in colonization, slavery. They may be key sites where there was inquisition. There may be key sites where there was massive deforestation. There may be massive sites where there was extreme loss or tragedy, right? And the souls are 1,000,000,000% still trapped there. So some of you will be doing the work to be crossing over very, very, very ancient souls. So a lot of the healing work is going to be like, it's whatever comes to you intuitively, please listen to it, because some of you will be needing to heal souls that come from the deep ocean. Some of you will be needing to heal the earth that sits beneath the actual lake and not the lake itself. One of the places that I want to that we'll be working through, I'll mention in between, but there's like it's like the Great African, I think it's like the Great African Rift, or one of that huge, like a huge, kind of like San Andreas Fault, it's a huge fault line, right? And it fragments that area. So the energy, that's what, when I was like energetically scanning the map, it feels like it's fractured. And that's because tectonic plate activity also shifts this, right? And so if you feel like, oh man, I want to heal tectonic plate activity, please do that. You may feel it seems insignificant to you because you're just one soul human. That's not true. We all know we self-identify starseeds, right? Y'all hybrids in here. All y'all hybrids. So the I'm just one human doesn't match here. So trust it, because if you didn't hear that knowledge, it wouldn't be meant for you to enact it, right? And to act upon it. So that's going to be the second category, is healers. So the third category is the warriors, right? So same thing with the wayshowers. There are probably only a handful of people that will resonate primarily with the warrior, right? Usually people are like, I'm definitely two of these, but fewer will just be like, I'm just warrior. So your job here is to defend and destroy if attacked, quite literally. That's your role. And so you're going to be holding the light line, whether this is black light or white light. And you do not allow for the penetration of the healing container. You do not allow for any of the nefarious or malignant, there we go, forces to hinder the work of restoration. For whether it's people sovereignty, the land sovereignty, the earth sovereignty, whatever that is, to the best of your ability. Some of this language here is directly linked for Sudan because that's what she had it for. It says, however, if you do not go looking for a fight, that's not what this is about, right? You'll be defending and destroying if attacked. And she says here, it's like, I'm giving permission to destroy with whatever power she has, right? I'm doing the same shit here. Shut that shit down. Take the time to gear up spiritually beforehand so that you're strong, solid at all levels, physical body, the emotions, which is the divine neutrality and sacred rage when necessary, coherent mind, and peaceful spirit. You will also be holding counsel with your spirit team for what, if any, adjustments are needed for you and your contribution. You'll be open to changing it daily as a warrior, much like you would a soldier, right? You won't hear the orders that are being given. So one of the things that I talked about very briefly in Steph's group, right, Steph to the Abyss, about spiritual warfare, right, was I mentioned that one thing about needing a spiritual offense. That's some of what's happening here with these warriors, right? Like you would not send a shooter to do a watchman's job. That's not what we do here, right? And so for this reason, there are a lot of you, right, especially those of you who work with demonic lineages like myself, they have some of the specific entities that you work with, they rule legions. They got whole ass armies. Same thing if you work with an archangel, they rule legions too. They got whole ass armies of angels. And so for that reason, so do you. Your ancestor is a whole ass legion. They got armies too. And so you want to make sure that you gear up these legions and these armies. Make sure in the same way that you would command the law of you. And this is a high key exercise for everybody. I was doing this actually when I was talking with Kimberly Elam when I was like hanging out with her. Staying with her in Georgia, was that when you create the law of you, I was like, I have to create the law of sin. what it means to protect me, to be within my spiritual and energetic sovereignty at all times. And then there has to be this whole duty listed out for what the protection looks like and what the offense looks like. Because, you know, even when you're you know, when you're doing protection work, when you're doing healing work, right? You guys know sometimes people feel like you're encroaching on territory that they feel very entitled to, and then you get attacked. And this happens very, very benignly, right? Like, let's say you're going for like a job, and someone else feels threatened by that job, that you're going to come through and take their job, right? So they attack you. That's still self-defense, right? That's still you need that offense in place, right? For when you're heading out and when you're opening roads and when you're showing up and all of a sudden you just come into some shit. So that's what the role right here of the warriors are, right? Like, and that's what a lot of you actually do in your dreams, right? Because some of us, right, like, because like it's easier for us to be in warrior mode in the astral than it is in this physical realm, because in this physical realm, we're here and tasked to take care of our physical bodies, especially those of us who are Neptune or Virgo ruled. Lord, those of us who got Pisces and Virgo all up in the charts. Physical health is a major component, so we do a lot of the stuff in the astral because of that, like that dual nature, right? Like if we're going to do stuff in the Pisces, the abyss, the physical health and taking care of the body becomes extraordinarily important, right? And so this warrior stuff, like, so the warrior, the healer, and the wayshower, right? Y'all can classify however you want. This is why self-identification is so important, because I'm not ever going to tell you, well, you're a healer, so you should do X, Y, and Z. Or, well, you're a warrior, so you should do X, Y, and Z. Or I think you should be a wit. No. Whatever role you feel best here, you take it on. And you can switch it at any point in time. That's the beauty of self-identification, right? Like, you guys are always allowed to change your mind. Always. So don't, that's why I was like, you guys, there's no intense obligation here. Period. There's just the only obligation that we have to each other is common courtesy and kindness. That's it, right? That's the only obligations that we have to one another in this space. And so in doing this work, right, like I know a lot of you, right, will have like some of the anxiety, especially some of you who are listening through the replay, that I'm not going to give you crystal clear ritual instructions, because that's not what I'm here to do. Because what I'm going to tell you, what I would tell a warrior would be very different from what I would tell a healer, which would be very different from what I would tell a wayshower. Very different. And I don't have the capacity or the knowledge of every single person in this space to be able to tell you this is what you need to be doing in each of these spaces. But I can tell you like a brief general breakdown, right, of what this would look like, because that would be kind of the most helpful way. But in general, this entire thing is extraordinarily intuitively led. Whatever you and your team is telling you to do and to show up as, that is what you do. So so let's talk about very basic breakdowns after I open up for questions, right? So do you guys have any questions about anything that I mentioned around lightworker, categorizations of being a wayshower, a healer, or a warrior? And I'll drink some water and kind of walk around for a second, because I need to grab some different tools I want to show you.
Excuse me. Hey, Sid. Quick question. For those of us who identify as more than one,
yes,
is it possible to be both at the same time? I.e., for me, I identify actually technically all three, but I won't be in wayshower mode very often. I will be most likely in warrior healer, and literally it's that switch. It'll be, I'll kill you while I heal him, and kill that one while I heal this one, and you know how spastic dragons get. So I'm going to just go ahead and kind of put myself out there a little bit, and just, you know, for those of us who do identify as more than one, is it possible to be that literally that trigger switchy?
Yes. Because you think about how quick it is for you to switch your anger, right? Like if you're like, you know, if you're in your relationship, how quick you can like yell at your significant other, but how to your pet, right? And so just as quickly as your intention or your intention and your attention can shift, right? Your energy can shift, and so can whatever it is that you do. So like I was saying in the beginning, like I'm most likely going to be in my wayshower and my warrior mode most of the time, right? And like you tend to want to start with your Wayshower energy first, right? So what that looks like is grounding the whatever energy, celestial, demonic, elemental, whatever energy that you're having into your physical person for you to expend into this reality, right? So whatever that looks like, that's going to be your Wayshower practice, whatever you do in Wayshower mode. And then from that point on, once you have grounded that energy and you've called in whatever capacity, whether you call in the chi or you you tap into the primordial energy, or you tap into the draconic energy, you tap into demonic, or you tap into celestial angelic energy, or you just showing up as you, what you got with you for that day, and you're just getting centered and calm with who you are for that day. From that point on, you can then go, okay, now I'm going to shift into my warrior mode, or I'm going to shift into my healing mode, right? And so from that point on, you can shift into doing, your meditation, right? If you want to just call in more of the healing meditation, go into visualization of healing, and then you can then, go straight into your warrior mode. And then once you're in that position, right, like you can have the intention, right, when you are in your meditative practice, right, of like, whatever stimuli comes first, I will be responsive to that in whatever order it comes in, right? And then you're like, I will shift and I will be protected as I do so, because you'll always be protected in doing this work, right? And so, is that yours that you have unmuted? Hold on, I want to just.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Hang on.
Okay, sorry, thank you. And so, yes, you're totally capable and able to start first with your Wayshower energy, ground your energy in, get yourself strong. Then you can probably go into your warrior mode, which is my initial reaction when I'm in Wayshower mode. I'm like, all right, right? Like here's like my sword. Let me clear the shit out, right? And then I kind of do, because like, the warrior mode, right, might be, okay, now that I have grounded this energy, now I want to protect that energy, right? To make sure my energetic container is safe, nothing is coming into it, right? Because you're not going to heal the container. No, you want to protect it and, make sure that there's something fortified around it, right? So you probably will do your warrior energy and, like clear shit out with like your actual weapons. And then from that point on, or fire, or whatever you use to purify shit. And then from that point on, then you move into your healing phase, right? From after the bloodshed and the purifications and all the stuff that's going on with what's left and what's not being attended to, right? That's when you can bring your healer energy, right? And that's why it's going to be important because some people, right, they're probably not going to want to do the fighting because they don't have the energy for it, even if they would desire to do it. And so those of you who align and do warrior aspects to this energetic healing from all of the sites that we're working on, and because you're tapped into all of us, right, that Wayshower energy, not Wayshower, the warrior energy that you're providing is also working on our collective pool of energy and keeping those of us fortified and strong, right? And some of you may just want to do warrior energy just for the group. And you just want to make sure that the group is okay in healing, right? Maybe you just want to be somebody who just wants to protect the healers. Then make sure that the healers are doing exactly what they need to do, right? And then that's the work that you do. Or maybe like for the first 15 minutes of your meditation, you focus it just on like, protecting the other healers, and then you go straight into your warrior mode, right? Like, and you don't even want to protect just the healers. You're like, now I just want to murder and I just want to kill. And then you just exit, right? And you're like, you feel good because you just slayed some shit in the other realms and you're protecting, you're like, yeah. That work is also possible and you're capable of doing it. And the same thing with the healer stuff. Like, let's say you just want to be in healing mode, right? Like you just want to be in silent meditation. You just want to heal the people in this space. Maybe you just want to restore the people who are doing the work in this space. Maybe you just want to restore the primordial energy of the earth. Go ahead, right? And then that would look very, very different, like, right, in the ritual instruction that I would give, because, like, I don't know what that would look like for somebody else, right? If I were to do it, right, if I were to just do my own healing energy with the earth, I mean, for me, it would be a painting. I would paint it. Because that's how I connect with the earth and how I would paint it, or I would draw it, I would sketch it, I would do a watercolor, something that I have here, right? And for me, like, because I'm working purely with earthly materials, earthly elements, the water, right? Like everything that I'm working on there, like that's how I would ground and heal the earth energy, by creating something beautiful within it, right? And so I think Mika is a great example, right? Like, Mika, would you be down to share kind of like, you don't have to give everyone the details of it, but like Mika has a protection daily ritual that she does with her chai tea.
Yes, I can share.
Yeah.
So I was trying to figure out how I could incorporate protection into my everyday because I have a tendency to run out of energy. Um, and so by the end of my day or the beginning of my day, it has been really hard for me to get into that concept and mindset and action. And so I decided that I would create a protection trigger for myself. So every time I have chai tea, because of the components of chai tea, if you look at the ingredients and if you're familiar with correspondences, the ingredients in chai tea are very protective. They're luck bringing, they're money bringing, but for the most part, they're protective because it's black pepper, ginger, star anise, which I consider like breaks apart or breaks up the evil eye, stuff like that. And so I created a trigger that every time I have chai tea, it's a form of protection for me. So I'm adding something that I enjoy and something that I feel is nurturing into my daily protection ritual. And like the milk that I have with chai tea represents, a mother's protection. And so, yeah, that's it. I just set the intention and I created a ritual around it. And yeah, so I have chai tea every day as part of my magical ritual. But I did want to add a possibility for people that might be a little bit confused or uncertain or feeling overwhelmed. I don't know if anyone is familiar with quantum jumping, but one of the ideas is whenever you have a decision to make or whenever the earth has a decision to make, the energy splits and like there are different versions of yourself. If you feel like you connect with more than one aspect, warrior, wayshower, healer, you can also, the thought came to me that you can also call on that quantum aspect of you that may have separated. And so you're sort of calling your energy back to yourself and working different dimensions of yourself, because maybe you feel that you were a wayshower at one time, but because of some sort of split, you feel separated from that. And that could be why you feel called to more than one. And so you can call that aspect to you, and it would also be a form of soul retrieval work for yourself. And as you call yourself back, you're also calling in that what's the word I want to say, that aspect of the earth that was lost to help bring back the pieces of that healing. So yeah, that was it. That was what I got so far.
Thank you, Mika. That actually gives me quite a few ideas on some things I can do to do more than one thing at a time. Also, to add on to your idea, you can actually call those aspects back of yourself from the quantum jumps and create servitors with them as well.
That's what I was going to be like.
Yes. I was actually thinking that maybe we should have a group servitor or a few group servitors. Yeah.
Yes. That's actually what I was going to do for our group. That was going to be like my rituals that I was going to do was like create a wayshower, healer, and warrior servitor for those aspects of people tapping into that energy, right? So that way whenever people align with that energy, there's already a servitor and that's fed with our group energy within that, right? And so like yes, the answer was yes. I like how we all are we're like all of us at the same time so excited. But the answer is yes. And then what I was also going to say was because some people in this group too, right? Like one of the ways that I'm being called to show up is through time magic. And I know like Sam in Washington will probably be watching this later. Sam, this is a call out to you because you've also been triggered into needing to do time magic. So there you go. But time magic with the earth, right? And going back into, that's actually what I'll be doing is going back into certain time periods of the earth and healing them at that time, right? And so you can quantum jump in the past, right? Because time does not exist. And so in going back to these energetic stages of the earth, right? Whether it's earth at its creation or earth at its inception or, earth at a cataclysmic period or time frame, right? Like you can go back into this time frame, right? and energetically like shift things, right? And so I'm being called to do that in certain areas. So if anybody else feels called to do the same thing, please do it, right? Because you know, that's why like I have a lot of like my soul cleanse and sense of Saturn. Like I'm gonna be using up pretty much all my magical mystic oils in all of these rituals, because like this is what I use them for. Like like when people ask me, they're like, oh, what do you use that for? I'll be like, the earth. I use it on the earth. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, what else? Like, I'll just use your juju there. Like, put it there, because I'm like, I don't know what to do there. But, you know, like, I will be doing time manipulation for this reason, in certain areas, because, like, this is where I feel called and led to work, right? And as someone who is Saturn-led, right? And Saturn rules, and I'm actually, like, Saturn is my second dominant planet, right? Like Saturn is extraordinarily important for me to work on and to use. That's why I was laughing and making that joke earlier about the black Saturn when I found out about it. Because I was like, I was like, it's so amazing. So yes, we'll be doing time manipulation. This is why I was talking about why for some of you the dream work will be so important, right? Because a lot of you guys, right, will be doing the quantum leaps. It's easier for your mind to visualize it and to embody the quantum self in the dream world and in the astral world than it is for you in your conscious imagination and your visualization process, right? Like I could give you all the binaural beats in the world and it would still not be the same if your ass just went to sleep. It wouldn't, right? And so that's why for some of you, please sleep. If like you're trying to do this work and you're just like, oh, all I can do is just sleep and sleep, because we need your quantum self. That's really what your quantum self, your astral self, the higher self, you that can't come through your conscious self because you are not totally ready yet. And you feel like for some reason you have that weird hating up that you can't quite push through. That's why I'm going to have our ritual, our get over it ritual for our group, right? Because like I need some of you guys to clear some of that, but just know sleep is going to be a huge thing. A lot of the healers in this group will be doing massive healing through their sleep. A lot of the warriors will be coming through and doing their warrior working in their sleep, right? And so and same with the Wayshowers. Some of you guys, holy shit, we can't even put the energy that you have in this physical body. Like we couldn't even ground it because your whole psyche would split. Yeah, your whole body would split. 3-dimensional earth, I couldn't handle the shit, right? Like, so we have to access you in the dream state. Monique, you'd be a great example of that because your energy functions like that. And so it's really crucial, you know, especially some of you too who are like have strong Pisces in the chart. That's why y'all are called to sleep, because we need you to be sleeping. So again, so like that's so like all the moods, right? And so when you are sick, here's the thing. So when you're sick, please take care of yourself, right? Know that there's always somebody doing an energetic work or clearing. So if you're feeling energetic sickness and you're not sure if it's an energetic sickness versus like you're actually coming down with the cold in the summer, wait it out like a day or two before doing anything, right? If you feel a little bit questionable what it is that you're doing, but do something healing like Mika. If she inspired you to create a trigger for you, right? And something that you do that triggers a certain type of ritual or energetic manipulation by something small that you do for the self that's desirable and enjoyable, do that when you're sick. You know, like, and if you want to still participate and you're sick, right? Like feed energy to the container. Feed energy to our space, right? Feed energy to different parts of the earth that are sick, that feel like, oh, like no one wants to pay attention to me because I'm sick, but I still want to be helpful. There's a huge part of the earth herself that's like that. So sit with the earth. If all you can do and you want to show up, sit with the earth. You can do meditation there too. These are different type of rituals that I would encourage you to do. The other thing I wanted to mention was water. All right. So some of you, right, the way that your rituals will look like will be having to go to actual bodies of water and leaving offerings there. And you're going to be like, this is not like you're like, this is not where I wanted to go. And you'll just hear, bring oranges to the creek, bring oranges to the river. I remember that happened to me once and I was like, excuse me? I have to what? And then I was not ready for that shit. And then I was just like, okay, right. But then that's understandable, right? Because like that's definitely Oshun being like, you should bring me some of these oranges to this river. And I'm like, who is this? Who is calling me to this river? Right? But like some of the, you know, like Oshun is an elemental spirit, right? An elemental deity, an elemental goddess, right? Who aligns with heartbreak and grief and healing from a place of heartbreak and grief. So if you're even somebody who's not sick, but your heart's sick, or you have a lot of grief that you're working through, right? Or a lot of deep sadness, there are different elemental energies. There are different parts of the earth that deeply resonate with that energy, right? And so I encourage you to also take, you know, your bath. Some of you may want to do baths as your ritual energy. You may want to use your physical person as the ritual space. You want to use the physical body as the altar, right? And so maybe you go into the bath water and you put stuff into the bath to heal what would be the earth through your vessel. And you sit and you meditate in that. And you just allow whatever to come through without giving it judgment. Why? Because the earth needs people who need to listen to her, right? And she needs that safe and quiet space to, you know, release her secrets and her whispers into you, right? And so if you're somebody you're not sure how to do your ritual, that may be one of the things that you feel led to do, is to hold space for the earth. Because that is incredibly healing, right? And so some of the other ways too, right? Like some of you will just want to burn ancestor money. My God, can I tell you guys how I had this strong inclination? I mean, partially because I need to continue burning ancestor money for the protection ritual and this other income multiplication ritual I got going on. Like I've been burning lots of ancestor money. Is burning ancestor money. Some of you may want to straight up cook for your ancestors. You're just like, damn, all I want to do is just cook. There's no one to feed, but I just got to cook. Or you may feel alternatively that you want to do community service, and all of a sudden you feel really led to start working with the homeless or the hungry, or, you know, domestic violence survivors, people who live in shelters, or you feel really inclined to work with animals. That's a secret of me. y'all, my group, like one of my key secrets is like I'm attuned to Reiki, but I never give it to humans. I'm level 2 Reiki practitioner, and I do it for animals and the earth only. Right? And so some of you may feel led to only give certain parts of your energy to certain functions of the earth, whether it's just animals or it's just the waters. You may want to do just the forests. You may want to do just the sky. You may be somebody who just wants to work on, you know, the, what is the word that's coming to me? It's not even a word. They just showed me like a color. That does not help me. Well, I'm going to let the color interpret itself in my brain. Like let it do its thing. But, you know, that was so weird. They completely fucked me up with that. I had such a good train of thought going. It's so annoying. Anyways, but you're going to feel led to do whatever it is that you want to do, and to please do that. The bottom line that I'm trying to underscore here, right, is that the ritual is going to come through in multiple different ways. Time manipulation, ancestor money burning, you know, ritual through the water, going to visit sacred sites, you know, being the altar yourself, beautifying yourself by way of taking care of the earth, more active volunteer work with humans, right? You may want to do stuff when you're sick and do not know what to do. We talked about, you know, simply holding space. We talked about creating ritual triggers. We talked about, you know, what to do if you want to split and to do workings from more than one place. We talked about the importance of sleep. We talked about the importance of rest. We talked about the importance, right, of filling up your own cup and constantly venerating your ancestors. We talked about the importance of tapping out when you need to tap out, because if there's anything that I absolutely, like, this is, okay, if there is only one requirement, this is the only requirement, is that you guys absolutely cannot allow this work to completely drain you, because then it's this is inconsequential almost, right? We need you to be at a position of power when you do this workings, not purity, just power and stability in whatever it is that you feel. And if you are unwavering in your intentions, it will come through in unwavering emotions. Or wavering emotions. There we go. And I was like, I just undid some words. And if you're really confused about how to structure your ritual based on intention, this is why I gave you guys those questions earlier. And I'll read them again now because I want you guys to think about these questions, right? And I'll post them again in the group so people can see it. But these questions are really important because they're help to guide you in your intention on what you feel on that day and what you're capable of doing at any moment when you decide to sit with your altar, yourself, your ritual space, right? Wherever you're going to be doing this work, because that's going to be really crucial here. So the first question I had asked was, what healing do you wish to bring her? Right? And so you can clarify, what healing do you wish to bring her to what do you want that healing to look like? How do you want it to feel? What is the end result feeling that you want the earth to experience from your healing process? Right? Because we want to envision our success, right? So if you can get clear on what you want to see this looking like, that's going to be crucial. These clarifying questions aren't written. I hate it when I like I'm thankful. Thank you. You guys are speaking to me, but like I can't write this out right now. So the second question, right, is what thanks do you wish to bestow on her, the earth, Gaia, right? So, just how I was told to bring oranges to the creek, right? Just to bring my offerings to the earth. What type of thanks, offerings, appreciation, gratitude do you want to bestow on the earth? What does that look like? What can you do that would actually make the earth feel grateful and appreciative of what you're doing, right? What gratitude do you have to gift her? Can you commit to that like every day? If there's anything you commit to in this group, right? Because there's no obligation to do anything other than to not come extraordinarily depleted at your very last drop with nothing there, just fumes, right? Can you gift gratitude to the earth every day? Is that possible? What trauma do you wish to focus on? Is this bodily trauma, soul trauma, emotional trauma, just the trauma of the earth? Do you want to focus on the trauma of like the waters, the water systems, the animals, do you want to focus on the trauma of the ecology? Do you want to work on the trauma to the ozone? Do you want to work on the trauma to Earth's inhabitants? Where do you want to focus it, right? Why do you care so much for the Earth? Can you let her know yourself? What would it look like, right? To show her that you cared. Is like, if you have any blockages around being able to explain why you care so much about it, that's a good area to look at, right? That you may want to focus some of your ritual attentions onto, right? Because it's like, if you're unclear about what and why you care, like what on this earth, I can't even say the words, why do you care so much for the earth, right? And you're unable to let her or yourself know. Just the exercise of clarifying that is really important, because you got to think about how many humans on this planet cannot articulate or can't articulate their like love or gratitude for the earth, and also don't see it or have it. And so even just that clarifying practice of you clarifying it for yourself helps to clear some of that energy, right? And then the last one was, where on earth do you desire to focus your energy upon? So whether it's just I guess how many sites do we get down? Currently we have 21 sites that have been listed and shared. So there are like way more countries than that, way more cities than that, way more everything, parks, cemeteries, hospitals, neighborhoods, right? So think about where you want to focus your energy upon the earth. And once you get clear on these questions, right? And because you know who you are, you know what you want to do, what healing you want to bestow, the gratitude you want to give, the trauma you want to focus on, and the energy, boop, 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 boop. Then and your why is really, really clear, why you care about the earth. That creates that bullseye for that and your energy, right? And then it becomes that much more easier to focus everything that you're doing. And then from that point on, it doesn't matter what you actually do because your intention is so clear. And you're focusing on that. That's what's going to be propagated on the space, right? And of course, the visualization techniques will assist. And yes, the gridding of the crystals and all of our things, yes, yes, yes. All of that helps because it amplifies our intentions, right? Again, shameless plug, right? For Steps oil, he got that amplifying intentions oil that just came out too. But you could use that for this type of stuff too. But it would be to amplify your intentions of whatever it is that you want to create in this space, right? And what you want to use the shared energy that we're all providing towards. And if you need help clarifying some of your intentions for your ritual work, for sure, you can talk to other people in this group. We have a couple of graduated apprentices of M in here. Ron and Zuli are both. So is Samuel. Washington's also in this space. Steph is also in this group. We have apprentices, period, in this space as well, right? And so it's going to be really crucial that. Sorry, they just started showing me symbols, and I hate it when they do that shit. Sorry, you guys. Like, I get like so in the zone, and it's just like, don't do that. Stop. It's like not moving away, and it's really annoying. I'm just gonna shift. Shift like this. There we go. Okay, that helps a little bit. Just change my dimension. But I hope that helps. I want to see what time it is. Yeah, because we've been on this call for a little bit. I do want to open up to additional questions. I do not have everybody in the normal group having given me their power days. Like, I'm still missing like at least half the people. So I will be pulling from everybody like those answers. I'll probably just message everyone directly just to clarify and to double check that the power days that you have given me are the days, the power day and or the day that you wish to volunteer your energy upon. It's totally fine if you take on more days than you are capable of committing to at any given week. Anytime, that's fine. So let's say, like, for example, the time frame that we need the most assistance on is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That chunk of time, and Wednesday. Actually, Wednesday, because I think Zuli is one of the only people who's on Wednesday. And so the second half of the week, basically the first half of the week, we have a lot of people on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And so like if you're somebody who can do any of those extra days, but you're not always able to commit to those days, you can let me know. So that way, like I know whose energy to assist on the days. Because the days that I don't have enough people, those are the days that I'll be for sure setting out like either an extra candle or extra energy on my end. So that way these people are supported as well. And so be sure to let me know if you haven't let me know all of the days that you can actually use. And then you don't even have to tell me on the day that you don't show up. You don't have to tell me. I just will already see, okay, this is the day that people will tend to, because if you let me know, like this is, like you say, this is my power day, but these are my volunteer days, I will already know not to expect you every single day that you show up. So don't worry. Don't be like, I'm overcommitting. You're not. Like I have the expectation that almost everyone in this space overcommits anyways. So I've already created safeguards in this group to protect our energy because it's so vital. Because like you guys don't understand, like you guys not burning out is so crucial to me. So I've already been doing so much around that. Oh, that's good, Danye. That's dope. I'm glad because I was like, I need to get my battery self going because like I tend to dip like in weird part of the day, like not even like the beginning or the end of the day. It's like I crash around like 1 o'clock. I'm like, this is not okay. So I have to like figure out how to like change my energy there. But the spaces, right? So then the places that we have, I I don't know if you guys have some of these other places down, so I'm just going to name them. I will put the whole list in this messenger group and in the regular messenger group. There's going to be people's names in here already. That's fine. Like, this was just my initial notes. I wonder if it's going to take the whole thing. Yes, it did. Yeah. Because, like, Facebook Messenger, damn it, it did the thing. Well, Facebook Messenger, right, it will, like, smoosh everything. It will take away my numbers. Zoom does what it just did, where it just smooshes everything, and I hate when it does that. So I'll post it again in individual chunks, but I'll read it. So the 21 places that we have so far are as follows. So the first 12 are on the Arcturian Tree of Life, right? So we have Mount Fuji in Japan. We have Bodensee, Germany. Lake Moraine in Alberta, Canada. Mount Shasta in California. We got Volcan Pass in Costa Rica. We got Montserrat in Spain. We got Cooper Canyon in Mexico. Gross Valley, Australia. Lake Taupo, New Zealand. Lago Puelo, Argentina. Istanbul, Turkey. And Serra de Bocanha, I guess, in Brazil. So then that's the first 12 in the Arcturian Tree of Life, right? And so Mount Fuji is the base. And so, and that's where a lot of like the energy kind of plateaus, right? And so I know people will be working on, this is one of the areas that was claimed a lot. And like, I know this area might be worked on particularly on Mondays. Mount Fuji. So I'm gonna talk with Sam about that some more. Sam, as you're listening, I'm gonna message you about it. And then I have some other stuff that I want to do specifically around Mount Fuji to ground in some of the energy to the Arcturian Tree of Life, and I'll talk about that in a different thing. But the last, how many? I guess is I can't count. 9. The last 9 places that are not on the Tree of Life are Lamu Island, Kenya, Old Donyo Lengai Volcano in Tanzania, Axiom in Ethiopia, Stone Mountain in Georgia, the Sudanese states of South Sudan and Sudan. We have Rwanda. We also have Uganda, and we have the positioning of Lake Victoria as holding both the spaces for Uganda and Rwanda for people who don't have a specific spot for that. We have Hawaii, the islands of Hawaii, and we also have New Orleans. So those are the places that we have. And then what I have mentioned earlier, if those of you who want to join my friend who is Jynnette Lewis of Inner Sun Alchemy, she's doing Flint, Michigan, starting the 25th of June for 5 days. So that will be 22 for people who want to include that. So I'll put that also in the space. And so again, same in that, like, you may only feel like called upon for certain areas now, and then later you may feel called upon for certain areas. You can change your mind any point in time about where you want to work at, what air energy that you want to focus your energy on, especially if something new and different comes up for you, and it's unexpected and it's something that like you didn't know that was going to happen. That's fine. Just let me know so I can add it to the list, because you're more than likely other people want to add to the list. They're just like, they don't want to diffuse the energy. That's not a problem. Like, we're going to focus on the entire earth. So feel free to volunteer additional locations at any point in time. So that way other people can assist. And then see if there's anything else that I want to mention for this. Not really. I will be probably doing some bigger rituals for like, you know, maintaining and protecting the group's energy around certain cosmic dates, right? Like when the astral weather permits it. It makes it dope because we're about to enter the eclipse corridor, right? Which is part of the reason why I closed the group quickly, because I knew those individuals who heard the call needed to be the first wave, right? Of the individuals setting the tone for this energy and this work to be in place. And then after the eclipse corridor, I'll be opening it up again. and then these individuals can come through and assist us. And so the eclipse corridor will be happening on the axes of Cancer and Capricorn, right? And so this is the elevated of the ancestors and the elevated ancestors. This is the, this is the primordial waters and the tops and, of the mountains, right? And so, like the achievements of creation, right? And so when we're looking at this energy of Capricorn and Cancer, we're looking at the planets of the moon and Saturn, right? And so there's going to be a lot of healing, right? That's going to be taking place because we're going to have a lot of moon energy that's what will be working with us. But there's going to be a lot of karmic shit that we're cleansing and clearing through because that's what Saturn represents in astrology. So a lot of what we're working through right now, that's why I mentioned before that, like, a lot of people in this group and in this space, a lot of your karmic debt and karmic shit that you need to kind of clear through is directly linked with this portal in this time period right now. And so that's why you felt led to it right now. And if you only want to work for it for this season, that's totally okay. You can bounce after. But this is a very particular time period because those of you who are now tapped in with your ancestors and have a connection and are already working with them one-on-one, you will have your intentions extraordinarily amplified by this energy at this point in time. And so any work that you want to do for bloodline restoration, especially of the earth and the earth's elements, any type of like elemental restoration for the earth, now is the time to do that. Any type of primordial water restoration on the earth, this is a great time to do any type of that work. And Capricorn, right, is ruled by Saturn, which rules time. So this is a great time for us to do a lot of time magic, a lot of the quantum jumping for a lot of you guys to learn and to be taught within this, right? For the different, I'm getting super like goosebumps, for different ones of us to like, play with the time manipulation is going to be really important because right now is the time jump that a lot of you need to kind of like jump into both into your ancestral self, but also into your future selves. So you can see how powerful you truly are. So you can both tap into that power into the present for what you're doing in this healing work, but also for the rest of your life. And so I just hope that this, this energy, that you use this energy not only for the earth, but into your own workings for whatever it is that you're doing for you, because everything that you're doing right now is karmically linked to the earth and the earth's ascension, everything that you're doing right now. And so the times that you're feeling sad because or a little bit guilty that you're choosing you over the earth, don't feel guilty or sad because that's a very important conscious decision that's being made. Because you're shifting away from your subservience to the earth and, building earth. And especially for those of you who have Anunnaki, there's this subservient energy, right? For your human hybrid in that, of this feeling of I have to maintain and build the earth. No, you don't. Not all the time. Some of you just has to be sovereign in it. So you have to sometimes choose you in this work as part of healing some of that karmic linkage. So there'll be that happening. If you guys have any questions around eclipse stuff as it relates to how to use it to amplify your energy, please write them down and bring them because I will be doing another Zoom, or maybe if I can create the group, a Facebook group live around that. So that way I can talk to you guys about how to utilize the eclipses for your energy. Can we really use ritual? Because they say don't to use rituals and eclipses at the same time. And no, we're gonna use the fuck out of this eclipse energy. Use the fuck out of it, right? Because there's so much talk about that. They're you're not supposed to do no workings on the eclipse. And says who? But there's going to be a lot of stuff to be said into what to do around that, and how to actually amplify that energy for your best use. So be sure to bring your questions. The materials that I mentioned before that you would only ever really need, aside from yourself, is just I had mentioned before, it would just be a quartz crystal or the lightest color crystal that you have. I will be having an attunement ritual after the protection ritual. After that's burnt out, I'll be doing an attunement ritual that you guys can use to attune those crystals too. But that's why we haven't done anything with it yet. So you guys can clear it. You can attune it to Jupiter and Saturn because that will be that's the planetary forces that I'll be using behind some of this. But in general, right, we haven't synced our energy yet because we're Mika talked about, we're doing the protections, cleansing. We're setting the stage, right? So that way everyone is is fully supported in this work. And that way we're not really leaving stones unturned in the beginning. and then we can continue learning and developing over time. But I hope that that answered folks' questions. Thank you so much for being with me. I know it's almost 2 complete hours on a Sunday. Woo! And so if anyone has anything they want to say left, like any questions or comments or concerns or thank yous or anything like that, feel free to type it or to let us know now. I will mute myself for a second just so anybody feels comfortable talking. Y'all can now.
Hey, everybody. Just want y'all to know that I am a resource. I tend to be busy, but I will get back to you. Direct message me if necessary. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.
Hi, or go ahead, Monique.
No, go ahead.
Oh, actually, this might pertain to you, Monique, as well, and any other people that are in physical healing professions. Like me, I'm a massage therapist, and I wanted to sort of pick you guys' brains about using that energy whenever we are in work mode. Like, what do you, how do I phrase that? Do you feel like there's the word I want to use is ethical, but I don't think it would be unethical, way to tap into this energy while we're actually working on people to help plant those light or dark seeds of healing into people that we're healing, so it sort of pollinates? Does that make sense?
Your question makes sense. This is a loaded question. So even I'm over here just like,
It's not quite so loaded, dear.
well, what's your answer?
My answer is, if you are going to use the energy in a way that benefits the earth, which by healing its inhabitants, you are healing the earth by proxy, how is it unethical?
Well, some people have the idea that I want to use the word permission. So,
okay.
Yeah. And so, like, you know, my concern is sometimes people aren't ready to, I want to use the word pollination. So, like, you know, like we're little bees pollinating the earth with these seeds and all of that of healing the earth, and some people may not be ready, and of course they can choose or not choose. But I also, you know, being that it is a physical, for me it's very physical because I'm a massage therapist, and whenever people are resistant it can be more tiring, and so I'm looking for ways to do that where it can be part of my everyday, where I am where I'm able to be active every day in it. So whether I'm at work or not at work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, Mika.
Okay.
See, here's the great thing about what you do as a massage therapist. Even in a physical application such as that, the oversoul gives that permission or denies that permission. So you're still working with a spiritual body. Mm-hmm. So therefore, as I said before, if your oversoul and their oversoul have a conversation and say, hey, look, I'm healing the earth. I would like to give some of this energy to you to help you heal yourself, which in turn helps to heal the earth. You are getting permission, 1. 2, exercising your right as a sovereign being. 3, exercising the right to have permission from their sovereign being. So again, I asked the same question. How is it unethical?
I don't know. That's why I wanted to ask the question. Or I guess not wanted to ask, but that's one of the reasons I asked the question, just to have clarity in the movement. Just to have
right, absolutely. I completely understand. But again, like I said, the permission doesn't necessarily have to be on the earthly plane to gain permission. Divine permission, spiritual permission, and physical permission are all permissions, if you will. And when you're dealing with physical massage, for the most part, you're actually using a physical medium to heal a spiritual body.
Yes. Yes.
So therefore, you'd want spiritual permission over physical permission anyway.
Yes, and as one of the things I was taught in massage therapy, one of my instructors said that once they come to you, that is permission. But a lot of times people are not ready, and so they create resistance. And so I'm looking for a way to bypass that resistance, so I don't have to spend so much energy.
Now that's a different question.
Yeah, so like even if their oversoul is ready, their physical body or their lower spiritual body may still be resistant to the change because of all of the things that it can bring up. And so I'm trying to figure out how to bypass that.
Then what you do is you send the energy to the upper spiritual body.
Okay.
Because you have the permission of the upper spiritual body. The upper spiritual body will know when to send it to the lower. Not to mention, energy as a nature will only go where it is needed.
Mm-hmm.
Needed, in quotes.
Mm-hmm.
If the lower spiritual body says, I don't need that right now, it's going to go where it is needed.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, oh, sorry. So like, Monique, so you missed the question. So the question, right, was around, she was asking about, it's kind of not really necessarily, like, it's kind of around ethics, but around like planting like energetic seeds of healing within individuals, right, in a healing practice, in a healing healthcare profession, and whether this is something that can be done in an ethical way. And so the answer was yes, it can be. Of course, that was one of the answers, right, that Ron gave, that yes, it can be by way of, the oversoul or the higher spiritual self giving permission, right? And then Mika had the clarifying question around like the resistance, right? So like, let's say like the oversoul gives permission, but the physical and the lower spiritual body's like, I don't want this yet. And so like, what do you do there, right? And so Ron spoke to just sending it to the higher self, right, higher spiritual body. And so I was going to say, Mika, before I went back to you, Monique, on that was like, it's just kind of like remember when you did that personal ritual for me and you put the energy on the side for my ancestors to decide what to do with it? You could do the same thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, usually the oversoul first, but like even if you being taught that they did come to you in the first place, which I do believe. But my thing with that is I'm clairsentient, so an empath, so I kind of feel around it. And there may be certain types of rejection that I feel, like what Ron said, like going to the upper body, but I like maybe sense in their body sometimes a spot that's kind of soft and tender, that just allows me to, kind of go in, that's there. And for the most part, and like kind of start there and then just ease in and connect to that. And then I'll start kind of doing a flow. There has been times when somebody's like, super, super resistant. And even within, it was like, give them whatever their oversoul is asking them to get it. And maybe while they're asleep, if their higher self, says, okay, their oversoul says, okay, then let that pass through at that time. Sometimes it's a repeated thing, that's why they keep coming back, but when you work with them and start talking about some of those things, I know in my case, then I can get through different ways. So.
Did this help you, Mika?
It does. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. And then Ashley, I just realized, did we skim past you when we did our introductions? Like, I feel like I didn't even get no rule and planet from you. Nobody knows you in here. I just been watching you, been like, damn, I need to shut up so I can let Ashley say something at some point.
Yeah,
you did skip past me, but it's okay because I was working on a client, so it worked out.
Yes.
But honestly, I don't even think I know my ruling planet.
I was like, I'm trying to remember what it is. I was like, my brain kind of like astro pull your chart in my head.
Right, I think I need to go back and revisit that email you sent me. But I am a healer, a medium, a Reiki practitioner, a yoga instructor, a hairstylist, and just a creative being. I what else are we supposed to say?
Anything else crucial or key you want us to know about you?
Good question. Not that I can think, like nothing I can think of off the top of my head, but I guess on a good note, like recently I've discovered I was a medium about a year ago, but I haven't really tapped into it until like recently. I've been kind of like seeing things on the corner of my eyes, or like, and I noticed the more I acknowledge it, like I see it a little bit more clear. So I can say that I can, I'm clairvoyant and also can hear things. So I'm just kind of excited to continue to tap into my gifts and my abilities, and just to see what this group is about and what it brings. From the gist of what I've got and read through the chat, I think it's pretty awesome, and I like the aspect of healing the earth, because initially I think it is a even bigger healing of ourselves. So I never thought to do that, so that this should be exciting.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. Makes me super excited. Yeah, and that was one of the things too that I remember it was like a point. And now that I have it, they let me go. Like normally when I'm doing lives, like I have like this, like I feel like I'm being pulled by my reins or like a collar, and then like when I'm done, they're like, oh yes. So the last thing that I remember, and that can be let go, I got permission, was seers. So I know Audrey had mentioned this earlier as well. Ashley, you're the second person to talk about it. That's my major thing, right? Like I see, right? Like we can see, a lot of us can. And so there is something really important for the seers to do in this group. And I will actually do a call for all the seers in this group, because one of the things that I need assistance with, because I can see, but it's like I of course can only see certain things, right? And only certain parts of things are revealed to me at certain points in time, right? And so I'm really grateful that you're coming to bring some of your talents into the earth, because a lot of where I began to see was through the earth, right? And the earth would show me things that either happened to her, in different aspects of her timeline, right? And so it took me some time to have to figure out through history, right? And learning geography and learning about different time zones and ages, I guess, like aeons and things like that of the earth, and figuring out, oh yeah, this is what happened there at this time with the earth. That's what she was trying to show me. But it came to me in a different way, right? And so, especially because you're so deeply connected with the body, right? And you do a lot of stuff that works with the body, which is like, the earth is a physical body on its own self. I'm excited to see how your gift manifests and what you're able to see for the earth, right? And how that, because sometimes that's how I began to expand my own seeing gift, right? I was like, oh, I can see into the future. I was like, can I see into the past? And I was like, okay, can I see then into this different dimension, right? Can I do remote viewing, right? Can I start doing this and this and this? And I started expanding my sight and where I was seeing. And now I can see a lot, right? Because of that process of actually healing the earth. That's actually how I started to do it. It started to push that energy was by tapping into the earth and you know, using my astral self to view it, and then also doing like the stuff that Mika was talking about with the, you know, doing with the quantum self, right? And being able to split, and then to be like from my Earth aspect to my Saturn aspect to my, you know, my Mars aspect to me being on Earth, and then being able to see from each vantage point, right? And so and being able to hold the intention and focus for each of these. Oh, you ruled by the sun. Sun baby. All right. So she got that Leo ascendant. Yay. And so like that's, yeah, I know you Ashley ruling and repping for Team Leo, team hairstylist, team hair, basically team hair with this Team Leo. And so I'm excited for that. But yeah, and so I'm going to be doing the call for the seers, because I know that there's something that those of us who see will be able to see if we connect with each other and use the gift in tandem. And so I'm excited for that. Everyone who's listening and on the call, know that I'll be sending out the call for that. Anyone who's listening, and if there is anything at any point that I said and you're like, she was going really good and then I lost her, please let me know where you lost me. Please bring your questions. Please bring any new concerns or comments or new ideas at any point in time. Like I said, I'm here and committed to this for at least a year. And so I'm going to be working on this for a long time. So I'm very, very open and thankful. I'm extraordinarily appreciative for everybody who showed up today and everybody who's listening to this on the replay. It is a major, major, major honor on my behalf, as my behalf and my ancestors' behalf, to be able to work with all of your spirit teams and your ancestors. I'm extraordinarily grateful for those ancestors who have come to me directly, from those of you, you know, like some of you guys, like we just talked to each other in dreams already. So I'm really, really thankful for those of you who have volunteered to already in this space to send energy to the group, to send primordial healing, to do cleansing, to do restoration. Those of you who are committed to doing your warrior aspects to protect this energetic container. Those of you who are continuing to, bring in this light and ground it into this energy, whether it's that black or the white light from either realm or side. Because, you know, we're all multi-interdimensional beings, and I wanted to create a space to honor that and for us to really explore all of that and push everything that we're doing together in a safe container for that to happen. So I will be talking about the crystal activation and our group servitor that we'll be creating, right? Because we'll be creating 3 different servitors. And so I'll speak to when I'm doing my activation rituals for each of the 3, so that way you guys can send your energy towards activating those 3 servitors. And I will create an image for them via painting, because I actually have in creations of a servitor group. And so this is going to be fun. So this will give me a couple more opportunities to create group servitors before I launch my other side thing that I'm doing within this space. So thank you so much, everybody. If there's any final last minute things that anyone wants to say, please say so now. Otherwise, I'm going to give my besos, all my besos, all of them, besos, besitimos, besicitos, besicitas, all the little besitos to everybody here in this space. Thank you so much. I am so appreciative, and I will see and speak with you all soon. Bye.
Thanks, Cynthia.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.